Hello everyone and welcome back guys to episode 5 of Jamie and I's Motorsport, the unnamed Motorsport podcast as we're dubbing it. Yes, we've changed it from the unnamed F1 podcast to Motorsport. Maybe, just maybe, I think Jamie and I got plans to talk about NASCAR over the next few weeks with this series. But yeah, heading though obviously out of the Imola Grand Prix last weekend. Obviously if you missed out on last week's podcast, our thoughts and feelings towards that Grand Prix, we would definitely recommend you go back and check it out. But of course, looking towards the future this time around, ready for the Portimao Grand Prix this weekend. Again, I'm sure if any of you are on Twitter, obviously if you want to go follow us, our @s are just below in the video. But yeah, obviously, if you've been on Twitter today, I'm sure you'll have already seen about 6,000 Rouse Seek memes and all that. It's a painful place to be on a Monday morning before a Grand Prix. But we have got a few things to get through over the course of today. But first of all, Jamie, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, it's good. I'm not sure about the NASCAR, but maybe, you never know.
Actually, I say that, Talladega was a good race yesterday. I'll give him credit.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you don't. But yeah, no, so we got a few things to dive into first of all. So I'm going to run in chronological order then, Jamie. I'm going to go against the script that we've sort of designed ready for this. And I'm going to go straight in then. The first major news, which we completely forgot to talk about in the Imola GP review, of course, is the announcement of Miami. Yes, F1, Bernie Eccleston's wet dream to get a Grand Prix in a second Grand Prix in the US, actually in a city. Not quite New York, like I think he would have wanted, but we are getting a race in Miami. Mixed emotions so far. We've all seen the track map. We've all seen some hot laps online. What are your thoughts?
I think it's okay. I think having a second track in the USA is definitely something of priority, more so than like a track in Saudi Arabia or a track in name other country with bad human rights record. But
is it because the US is so great?
Well, the US is amazing, yeah, obviously. But I think the track could be better, but given it's in a city, I think they've done an okay job of making it look quite good. My main criticism of it was that it pretty much looks like a cut and paste job from every other circuit he's ever designed, Herman Tilke. And like, yeah, we've seen a lot of his sorts. Herman Tilke, you know, I'm really good at the German accent.
Herman Tilke.
Tilke, yeah. I think if you take any complex of corners from the new Miami track, you can pretty much pinpoint a previous Tilke track that corner is from. It's basically. So yeah, it'll be an alright race. It'll be a really good weekend, I'm sure. And the drivers will love it. I think Hamilton said about wanting to go to Miami for years. So.
Yeah, basically Hamilton and Ricciardo just vibing.
Yeah.
If Hamilton even decides to race next year.
Oh, I think he will.
Yeah, probably. That's a whole other podcast.
Now that Miami.
Exactly, yeah, that's a whole other podcast down the line. Sorry, I am looking, I've got the track map up on the side as to why I'm not looking at the camera very much at the start. But yeah, I think, again, like everyone sort of said, it's just a tilt drone. At the end of the day, someone else needs to be given a chance to design a Formula 1 circuit. I beg. At some point, please, let someone else who just wants to do something a bit different with it. Because, yeah, like you said, it can pretty much just be copied from other tracks on the Formula 1 calendar. And pretty much all of them have been created by Tilke himself as well. Yeah, looking at it though, I mean, I've watched some Assetto Corsa laps online and it sometimes doesn't give the best description of it. I know, for example, when all the Baku hot laps came out in, 2015, 2016, ready for the Grand Prix? Everyone sort of hated that track before it got on the calendar, and then since then it's actually provided some bangers of races. But, again, we shall wait and see, I think, won't we?
Yeah, and I think it'll be a decent race. It looks a lot more open than I think the Hanoi track that we had on F1, the F1 game this year, was a lot worse than this track. So if it's just a direct replacement for that, it can't really get much worse. So I think it'll be all right. And the fact it's going around a stadium is pretty cool as well. So it'll be like in F1 calendars, you need variation, and I think this is a good place to have a variation.
Yeah, I think hopefully. I mean, I'm looking at the track. Obviously, you've got a couple of big straightaways there. Neither of them into. Well, I mean, the second one is sort of into a fairly tight braking zone, but I still worry it might be a little bit.
There's two good
open.
Opportunities.
Yeah, there's two decent opportunities there.
And maybe turn one as well, you could say.
Possibly, yeah. It kind of reminds me of the Senna S, in all honesty. So hopefully, there'll be some overtaking opportunities there as well. Then, but of course, again, we'll wait and see as to what Miami is going to be like when we get there in Formula 1. Of course, obviously, they're trying to chase the money. They're still desperate to try and break into this US market. I think everyone's still got their own opinions on whether that's for better or for worse, but I think if anyone's going to be able to do it, it's definitely going to be Liberty Media rather than Bernie Eccleston.
Yeah, he'd just get into the US market by putting some sprinklers on the side of the track. So
exactly, yeah. Or his little 30
just having a 6-car race, you never know.
Exactly, yeah, that worked out so well for him, didn't it?
Yeah.
As well. But yeah, again, hopefully we'll see this track deliver. I sort of look at a couple of places like what really you could say sort of turn 5, turn 6, that little S section.
Yep.
And you're just there like, why? Couldn't that just be a straight or
Well, it's because he wants to make
zone?
a technical corner. So you take a look at that, like straight out of China, straight out of Malaysia. Those two, like, every corner on this track, you can pinpoint where it's from, almost.
Why? Like, surely, like, all I'm thinking is I'm looking at that section of the track and thinking that could have been like a flat out left into quite a tight hairpin or that long flowing left-hander even out onto the back straight.
Yeah, like the second last corner at Sepang in Malaysia. It'd be quite like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But then
So
that
then
wouldn't have
with a
enough
bit of
corners, would it? So
Wouldn't
you can't
it?
just draw a circle and be like, right, there's my track.
Yeah, it would have been better than it is now, I reckon. Again, we say all this, we don't know. Miami might provide the greatest racing in the world. It could be an absolute worldie of a track. And again, we'll have to wait, I think they've said it's going to be next May,
18 months?
Did they say?
Oh, was it May? I thought
it was May. I don't think they're putting it next Dakota. I think they're trying to put it near Canada.
Probably should have looked that up, really, before.
Yeah, we should have done.
At some point in 2022.
Yeah, exactly. It's in 2022, so we're going to have to wait a while anyway for it to jump onto the calendar. But yeah, again, it's nice to see another Formula 1 track, but unless, of course, we lose a couple from this year, I mean, we're probably going to lose Portimao, aren't we? I know Imola are talking about trying to get a contract extension as well, when we know a bit more information about that. Obviously, I'm sure we'll discuss that at a later date as well. But yeah, I think F1 is very much at the limit of how many Formula 1 tracks they can put on a calendar. Whether we're going to have to start seeing maybe a bit of a rotation with it and things like that, who knows?
I think that'd be really good. Just have like the key ones, the traditional ones that everyone wants to see every year.
Yeah.
And then rotate some of the ones in and out. Sort of like we had this and last year, really, because of
this is what I was thinking. I had an idea.
An opportunity, hasn't it?
Yeah, I had an idea
Don't
today.
want to hear that.
You do not want to hear this. So, obviously, we've got all the FIA Grade 1 listed circuits around the world. Obviously, most of them on the Formula 1 calendar anyway. Obviously, the big thing generally is budget constraints. I reckon, now there's no way they're ever going to do this because there's just far too much money involved. They should give one of those tracks that isn't on the calendar, like, one race in, like, every 5 years or something. They've all got to, like, prove why they deserve that race. And they can obviously then do it for a really cheap rate. F1 give them like a huge discount on it. I know all the other venues are going to hate it and things like that. That's why it's never going to happen.
There's so many Grade 1 listed circuits, though. It'd take you about 30 years to get through them all.
Yeah, but exactly. But, like, for example, Fiorano was never going to do it.
No.
But
you got stuff like, Yongam in Korea.
Yeah.
Like Sepang probably want to...
Exactly.
Like, some of them just don't want to come back.
Well, no, it's not that some of them don't want to come back. It's the fact they can't profit. That's why you give them, like, one race at a massively slashed rate. Loads of people come, and then they think, actually, we might be able to do this again, and then go bankrupt in 5 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
A 3-year trip to India every year.
Exactly. It's going to be great. This is my master plan. I think we've gone slightly off topic there, haven't we?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Anyway, we'll bring it back in then. On to the second point of today then, and that is George Russell. We spoke about this last weekend, the crash at the Grand Prix between him and Valtteri Bottas. Obviously, he wasn't happy. I thought it was brilliant. George Russell was apparently told it wasn't brilliant, and he's come out and apologised. Are we particularly
he's got
surprised?
a bit of a slap on the wrist, hasn't he?
Yes.
No, not surprised at all.
No.
I think it upset Mercedes a lot more than he thought it would, I think, because obviously Mercedes have been working with Bottas for, 3-4 years? No,
5 years.
4 years now. 5 years, wow.
Yeah.
How has he scabbed a living in that team for 5 years?
It's mad, isn't it?
I don't know. But, yeah, they know that he's not a malicious driver. He wouldn't just weave on someone.
Oh, yeah, I don't think anyone was saying that unless they were Twitter.
But that's sort of what Russell was implying, was that if it was any other driver, Bottas wouldn't have swerved. But
yeah, that comment
it wasn't a very clever move, I don't think, when Mercedes themselves are very, very keen on honesty and integrity. I think that maybe it wasn't best to say that Bottas weaved on Russell to cause a crash, and you can tell that he's yeah, got a bit of a slap on the wrist from Toto Wolff this week. So I'm sure we'll learn from it. And obviously, I think he's admitted now that it was partially his fault, at least. I can't actually remember what he said, but yeah, he'll learn from it and get better, I'm sure. But
Exactly. And at the end of the day, even if it's just something you learn for PR sake, I'm sure his opinion hasn't changed one bit deep down. He's probably still thinking that saying that Bottas swiped to him, I think was wrong. Saying that Bottas might have defended a little bit harder from him than a lot of other drivers maybe still has some truth to it, in my mind. But again, Mercedes are never going to admit that. They don't want anyone admitting that, especially one of their own. If it was like Charles Leclerc came out and said that, you think, fair enough, Mercedes
just
can't really do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, with it being George Russell, sort of a bit of a slap back into place, get back in your Williams car for another year, and we'll
Qualify
talk
13th
later.
every week, and then
Exactly. I just want to see him get that mug seat. Again, that'll be another podcast for another day. Who really deserves that seat for next year? I think we both know who it's going to be. It's going to be a 3-second podcast, but we're looking forward to it nonetheless then. But yeah, George Russell, though, has finally sort of... I think, he came out sort of all guns blazing and has, very much just sort of been slapped back into place after the weekend. Now, biggest news before we head to Portimao this weekend. Rumour has it, and it's pretty much confirmed, we're getting sprint races this year. This one is interesting. Jamie, what are your thoughts? What are initial thoughts on sprint racing?
I think it's a bit novelty, but I don't think it's going to make that much difference, really. Like, I think they've said it's 100-kilometre races, which I think is a third of the normal length.
Yes,
Is it a quarter of the normal length?
1/3 race distance.
1/3. So we saw
just under
effectively, like, I just don't see the point, really, because you got the qualifying still normal. So you got a Friday qualifying session for the sprint race, and then you do a third of a race distance. Everyone stays in the same order, and then you go into Sunday in the same order. Like, very rarely do you see that much difference between quali pace and race pace, unless someone completely messes up their quali. So, yeah, I don't see it making that much difference. It's a bit of fun. Like, I'm sure that it's 3 tracks. I think they're doing at Silverstone, Monza, and Interlagos, which are all quite good tracks for overtaking. So I guess, and if it's raining, for instance, that'd be quite fun. If it's like dry on the Friday and wet on the Saturday, and then dry on the Sunday, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But if it's the same conditions all weekend and the same car pace, then not much is going to change, really, other than getting good and bad starts and whatnot. But it'll be fun. I'm planning on going to Silverstone, so I'm looking forward to seeing it in person. Don't think much will change, though, really.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it, where like you want to believe. Like, I've just been, obviously you talking about that. I've just been building up in my head. Imagine Silverstone qualifying, fairly normal. We get Hamilton on pole, Verstappen P2. We get to Saturday's race, and it starts raining 10 minutes in, and it's just carnage. You get a grid that's all over the place. Verstappen and Hamilton P12 and P15 because they crash into each other at turn 3 and then have to recover over the course of the weekend. Now, there are a couple of points available. You get 3 points if you win the sprint race, and then 2 for second and 1 for third. Again, that it sort of feels like they really want to try this, but they also
but they're being
aren't
so
that
tentative
confident
about
in
it,
it.
aren't
Yeah.
they? Like, if they wanted to
like
go for it, they could say like, all right, everyone qualifies 1 to 20. We reverse the top 10, go for a sprint race. Winners get this how many points. They could proper go for it if they wanted to.
Sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, they could proper go for it if they wanted to, but you could just tell they're really nervous about upsetting people because you can tell it takes away the prestige of the sport if you start messing around with qualifying order and stuff. But I don't know. It seems almost too little. Like, there's so little at stake in a sprint race because it's going to be the same order really, and it's like 3 points, which is barely more than you get for a fastest lap.
Yeah.
So, it'll be fine, but it won't actually catch on, I don't think.
Yeah, and again, this is what I'm trying to just read through the article. It doesn't mention anywhere about tyre changes.
Well, there probably won't be one. The F2 races,
this is what I was
do it all
wondering.
on the same set.
Yeah, but 35%. What, Silverstone? That's going to be 30%, isn't it? It's 33. That's going to be what, 20 odd laps at Silverstone?
So,
no, less.
Yeah, about 20 laps.
Just under 20, about 17 in it. 17, 18 laps. About 23 of Interlagos, and then about 17, 18 of Monza, in it.
Yeah.
So Monza, you definitely won't need to pit. But for example,
I don't think you need to pit.
Is he going to change the strategy up at Silverstone? You say that. Remember last year? Are we going to see Are we going to
I
have to
don't know
see
about
more cars qualifying on soft tyres, perhaps, for the Saturday race? And what are the rules then for tyres and things?
I have no idea. I'd assume that you qualify on the tyres you want to start the proper race on.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Saturday sprint race is just do what you want.
Fresh
start
set.
on anything.
Yeah. Oh, that kind of kills it a bit, I suppose. That'd be great if you had to qualify and then go on to your tyres for Saturday, and then you either
everyone has to
you either pit during the race and take fresh rubber for the start of Sunday's race, or you stay out there, try and bag the points.
That would be stupid.
It'd be great.
What, 3 points for ruining your strategy for Sunday? Well done.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah, but then you're right at the front.
I can tell why you're not on the technical directives team on FIA.
I can tell because I haven't applied yet. I'm going to apply now. It's going to be great.
Well,
I'm going to reinvent Formula 1. Exactly. This is going to be great. I'm going to do it, Jamie.
Terrible.
But yeah, no. So hopefully, obviously, we'll get more details about that and things like that. Obviously, of course, over the next few weeks. But I mean, looking at the positives, hopefully we'll get more action from 3 tracks that generally provide good racing.
Yep.
Although I say that, Monza, then I think everyone forgets Monza was pretty much a snooze fest last year, apart from the fact obviously the grid got mixed up. No, it was. Come on. It wasn't a great race, was it?
I will wave my Gasly flag and make you to be quiet.
Yeah, but there was no overtaking.
Yeah, but it was intense. That's what it was.
It was
the
intense.
Overtaking wasn't too easy.
Yeah, but
Sainz was catching and catching. 4 more laps and Sainz had the win.
Yeah. Oh, no, because he couldn't get close enough. He got stuck behind him.
It was closing the whole time and only got
Jamie,
the DRS
have you only remembered that from not My Driver? What's it called? Drive to Survive?
No.
Because it wasn't quite like that in the real Grand Prix. It didn't, though. Not quite like that, did it? He got within the 1 second mark and then couldn't get any closer for like the last 5 laps.
To be fair, while the race was happening, my heart rate was like 150. So
I'm sure it was. But yeah.
I think it was a brilliant race at Italy.
So, do you think then, with so few points available, they should have tried to gamble it a bit more and said top 10 reverse? If there's like 3 points for the win?
Problem is, you get old drivers and Lewis Hamilton complaining then that it ruins the integrity because someone qualifying, like the fastest qualifier, would then potentially start 10th for the sprint race and then just get taken out potentially and not be on pole for the actual race. And that doesn't
Why wouldn't they be on pole for the actual race?
But
you do qualifying,
no,
top 10 reversed, and then normal top 10 for the main race.
Oh, okay. So you want on like F2?
Yeah.
Yeah, that maybe would make more sense. I'd like that. But then, I don't know, you get... say if that happens at every track, just tracks like Monaco and other tracks you can't pass out, like Zandvoort and stuff, you're just going to get drivers aiming for 10th and getting into Q3 and not going out for a lap.
Yeah.
If they're not going to be on pole.
People do that anyway.
Not really.
Not as much anymore, but they still do it sometimes if they've used too many sets of tyres and things.
No, you get an extra set of softs for Q3 now, so everyone goes out at least once.
I don't know anymore. I just want this to work, and I just don't think it will. I'm just angry and old, and I don't like the way everyone's changing. Yeah. So neither of us have much faith in it then to round out.
I mean, I think it'll be okay, but it's not going to revolutionise F1 and make it amazing, but. You know,
yeah, but it'll be fun to see, won't it? So let's say then, hypothetically, we get these 3 races this year. Do you think we're going to see sprint races next year? Yes or no?
2022. No. In a word.
No, I think
the only way I could think that could change is if one of the races was an
absolute worldly. Yeah,
I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, you got potential there. Like I said, if you get like some interesting conditions. Like, say, for example, it starts bucking it down with 3 laps to go and you just hang out there on a set of softs or something.
Yeah, just to try
clinging
and
on for dear life.
Yeah.
It needs to be just long enough where you can... Like, say, everyone has to start on softs, but it's not easy to finish.
Perez can do it easy on a 0 stop.
Yeah.
And everyone else has got to stop.
Other drivers
struggle. Just wins every sprint race.
Exactly. That's 9 points on the board. Which is basically as many as he scored for Red Bull anyway.
That's as many as Albon got last season, really.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, God, I hope we never end up in any sort of position or power in Formula 1.
It's not great, is it? I apologise if you made it this far.
It's not been our finest one so far. I think we can agree. Let's get on to our final piece of news then. Looking towards Portimao this weekend. An interesting Grand Prix last year. This is what we need from these sprint races. We need the first 2 laps of Portimao last year. For those of you guys that remember, obviously, you got McLaren's tearing to the front of the field. Raikkonen making up like 64 million places.
16th to 6th, I think he went in a lap or something.
Yeah, it was 17th to 6th, I think. Yeah, it was pure Raikkonen, wasn't it? And then just went backwards like Alfa Romeo did every week.
I don't think he actually got points last year in Portimao.
No, he didn't.
Which is pretty impressive, really.
No, he didn't. I think they got points
but again,
like
the first
one?
7 laps. The first laps of Portimao last year was purely due to the weather and
exactly. That's what you need for the sprint race.
Yeah. Just Bernie's sprinkler idea isn't that bad. Just bring him in for the sprint races.
Exactly, yeah. It'll be great. We can't go back to that now. We can't seem to get rid of it.
Right, Portimao, it was good. It's a good track. I really enjoy watching onboards and everything. So
yes, yeah. A
I
proper
look forward
race
to playing
track.
on the F1 game in 2022.
Good. I mean, you can play it on Project House already.
Oh yeah, that's what I want to do as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The option's there if you want to. But yeah, so qualifying top 3 predictions, Jamie.
I think we said this last week, didn't we? I can't remember what I said.
No,
did we just do race?
we
I know.
just did
I
race.
put Leclerc on a podium.
Yeah, I think you went Max Hamilton, Leclerc podium.
Yeah. So in quali, I'll go Max Hamilton, Perez. Why not? Yeah.
Perez. Fair enough. Well, I got it right last. No, I didn't get it right last week, did I? I got Perez and Verstappen the wrong way round. I am gonna go Max, Lewis, Lando.
In qualifying.
Thank
Fair. McLaren looks
you.
very good, actually.
McLaren
I was so
been
convinced
strong.
it was on pole last week.
Hey.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really close. Again, this is.
He
I
was,
really want to see McLaren battle at the front. They need to.
Mm.
We need McLaren at the front. I beg. It just, I mean, it goes to show how good their chassis is now. The fact they can nearly match Mercedes.
Yeah.
They have finally
get,
got some.
What was it? What year was it when they were Honda powered and Alonso always said they're the best chassis?
Yeah,
and then in Monaco they qualified
right?
like 12th or something.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So cars that we think are going to be strong then for Portugal, like better than they have been.
It's fairly similar to Imola, really, isn't it? That's difficult to say.
Is it? It's a lot higher speed.
I mean, last year
no,
I
it's
think.
not. I suppose it's not ridiculously.
It's quite
different.
similar.
It's more of a. I'm trying to think of a track like it, to be honest.
Spain is quite like it, but more flat.
Spain's slower.
I don't know. But anyway,
yeah.
I don't think it'll be that much different, really. So you got Red Bull, Mercedes, comfortably the top 2. I think they'll be very similar paced again. I expect McLaren, Ferrari, AlphaTauri to be very close again.
Are we finally going to see a good weekend from Gasly? So far, both weeks. No, that's not
really
stick
good.
towards Gasly. That's not stick towards Gasly. I mean, I just mean obviously round
You're
one.
just trying to annoy me.
He made I'm genuinely I'm not. I was thinking about this earlier on. I thought Gasly could have had probably about 13, 14 points now if things went his way. But obviously Bahrain, he went into the back of Ricciardo. You can't deny that he did. And then obviously Imola, he got screwed by the team because they kind of forgot they had two cars in the race.
He would have been right in that pack.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
So
that genuinely wasn't a dig at Gasly. I just meant, is he actually going to get a weekend where things run smoothly?
I hope so. I don't know what the weather's looking like for Portimao, but
I think it's looking like it's going to be changeable conditions again.
It'll probably start spitting at turn 1 and the AlphaTauri will pit in for wets again. But yeah, I think they'll be very close. It's pretty much like Ferraris, McLarens, and then Gasly just chill in the midfield. And then everyone else is just sort of awful. One thing I've noticed, one thing I saw actually during the week, obviously we haven't had any hate on Sebastian Vettel yet this podcast, so I thought I'd better fix that.
Oh god.
I saw that he hasn't got into Q3 since
15 times in a row. Yeah, I saw that.
The first race at Silverstone last year, which was what, round 3? Was it round 4?
Round
I think
4
last year.
Yeah, because you had Austria, Hungary, and Silvo.
Yeah.
So you're just getting your Seb slandering before we finish.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to change because the Aston Martin looks pretty trash in quali trim.
And he's not. No, Stroll's got into Q3.
I suppose Stroll got into Q3, didn't he?
But Stroll seems so much more comfortable with it.
And Stroll's better at qualifying than the race anyway.
Stroll's a good qualifier. Like that can't be taken away from him.
Which is weird because a couple of years ago he barely got a Q1 and just made up 6 places every lap one, didn't he? But you know what? He grows as a driver. you got pole last year, so we respect Stroll
Exactly.
a little bit.
In this house, we love Lance Stroll, do we? Yeah, we're proud to announce this podcast is actually sponsored by Lawrence Stroll Corporation. I can't remember which company he actually owns. He's bankrolling us 1.3 million a week, so we're loving life. But yeah, I've had a look at the weather for Portugal. It's wet on Friday, and then it's dry all weekend.
Bring us a sprint race. We want quali on Friday.
Exactly. Huzzah. That'd be great. Imagine that. We keep going back to sprint races, but they show up to a weekend on Thursday, and then the FIA just go around going, "Yeah, we're having a sprint race tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
We're having a sprint race here.
Be ready."
Here's $500,000.
Exactly. Yeah. Get your cars on the track. It's going to be a great one. Now, what they need to do is like they used to do back in the late 80s and early 90s is like make a race in road cars. Like I think there was footage of at Nürburgring. They were racing like Mercedes 190Es or something against each other. It was great. Because
they should do that at some point. Get all the drivers to bring their company cars to a track.
Oh, imagine the poor sight of Renault or Alpine.
In like a Twizy or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. We should actually on the...
This is an idea for a podcast. No, we need to do this on Assetto Corsa.
Oh, great. That sounds like a great podcast.
Company cars. Company cars, yeah. Well, Honda Civic Type Rs. What's it? Otmar Safnauer has got a Ferrari, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's got Dale Earnhardt's NASCAR.
Nice.
He's going to let Ricciardo drive it if he gets a podium, I saw.
What, Otmar?
No, I'm thinking of the McLaren one. Zach Brown.
Zach Brown.
Yeah, they're the same person.
They really aren't. They really
One's just American.
Fair enough. Where is Otmar from, actually?
I think he's British.
You say that like he could be. You can literally tell me he's from anywhere, and I believe you. He's
Romanian. Wow.
I believe you. Google's told me he's Romanian, so I'm taking it. But this podcast has gone off the rails this week.
Yeah, it's kind of mental, hasn't it?
It's not been. It's been fun.
We usually chat before a podcast, and this has just turned into one of those.
This has just turned into our pre-podcast chat. Yeah. So we'll be back with a real podcast. Obviously, after the Portimao weekend. Obviously, let us know your predictions down below. Like we said, I'm predicting Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez top 3, if I remember correctly. You're going Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc top 3.
Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc.
Yeah, it's your top 3 let's go. For the weekend. But yeah, let us know, like we said, your predictions, and hopefully we'll be back with a little bit more structure next time out. Like we said, we don't really know what we're doing with this still. We're just having a bit of fun with it. But yeah, thank you all.
Enjoyed it. It's fine.
Well, I'm sure you did. If you made it this far, I'd hope so. I'd rather someone not be here now than 30 minutes in going, this is awful. The hell am I watching?
Yeah, why am I here?
Exactly. But yeah, Jamie, anything to add before we sign off?
Don't think so. That's about everything.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back next week reviewing the Portuguese Grand Prix.